Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm really happy to have you here. We have a super fun video today. I am doing a book tag video, the library book tag video. Nobody like tagged me in this or anything, but I saw Jane Reed's do it a few days ago and I thought it was super fun, so I decided to do it as well. So there are, I think, 7. There are 7 questions, all having to do with libraries. I had to put on my library t-shirt for this video. It says, having fun isn't hard when you have a library card. I don't know if you can see the whole thing, but that's what it says. So yeah, it's gonna be really fun, and let's go ahead and get started. So the first question is, how often do you visit your local library? So that depends. I visit it at least a couple times a month. If I have like a long list of hold books, then I'll visit more often because I'm, picking it up and returning, picking up and returning. The thing about my library is that we have like our physical library system, but then my library also has Libby and Hoopla. So I have like 2 options of getting ebooks as well as physical books, as well as my actual library. So even if I'm not visiting like my local library in person, I almost always have ebooks checked out. And so it just kind of depends on if I'm looking up books like, oh, is it available in ebook? Oh, do I need to go get a physical copy? I definitely prefer physical copies in reading. Like, I like to read physical books, but sometimes ebooks are just easier or they're more readily available. So my physical library, I visit at least a few times a month, sometimes more. But I almost always have a book checked out, because if it's not a physical book, then I'll have an ebook checked out from either Libby or Hoopla. So that's that. The second question is, are you the type of person who checks out more books than you know you can read, or are you someone who only checks out the exact amount of books you intend on reading before they are due? I'm kind of a happy medium. So when I go to my physical library, I usually know kind of what I'm getting. Either I'll have books on hold. I like to use my interlibrary hold system a lot, especially because so I live in one county, but our library system has an interlibrary hold system with our neighboring county as well. And our neighboring county has a lot more Christian fiction than like my county does. And so there's one really big library, and I think it might be like a university library in my neighboring county that has a lot of Christian fiction in it. So a lot of times I'll use my interlibrary loan system because I can get a lot of books from that library from our neighboring county and get them here to my library. So when I'm going to the library, a lot of times I'm getting a hold, or I know kind of what I'm looking for. And I will go just to browse sometimes, but I usually know what I'm looking for. And sometimes I'll walk away with like 7 books. And it's not impossible for me to read 7 books in like 2 or 3 weeks. Like, it's definitely possible, but I have to really be into them. And so when I leave the library, I have the ability to finish all the books that I have checked out usually, but that doesn't mean I necessarily will, and I won't feel bad if I don't. Like, sometimes I'll just be getting through a book slower because it might be a heavier book, and so I won't get to the other books in my book stack before they're due, simply because that one took me longer than expected. Or other times, like, I'll pick up a book that I got from the library that looked really interesting at the time, and I'm just like, I'm not in the mood for it right now, I might try it later. So yeah. So I don't usually pick up so many books that I know I won't be able to get through them. Like, I pick up enough books that I know I can get through them if the circumstances are right, but I'm not really worried if I don't get through them, if that makes sense. Number 3, how old were you when you got your first library card? That's a hard one, because I've been going to the library since like I was really small. But when I got my first card, like the first card with my name on it, probably 12 or 13. Probably like 12. Because for most of my childhood, I just checked out books on my mom's card. But I think I was probably about 12 when I got my own, which I remember I remember when I got my own card, like, it was super exciting, and, like, I got to sign my name on the back of it and everything. But I don't know exactly how old I was. I'd say probably around 12. Sounds about right. Number 4, do you go to your library looking for a particular book, or do you check out anything that piques your interest? So yes, I'll go to the library if I'm looking for a particular book, but I'll also go just to browse, but I usually know what authors I'm browsing. Because, like, my library puts all the fiction together, but it doesn't necessarily, like, within fiction, it doesn't really sort by genre, except for, like, mystery. Mystery is always by itself, and then the rest of fiction is together. Within fiction, it sorts by author. Like, when I was little, we lived in a town that sorted its fiction by genre. So at that time, I was like 6, so I was too young to really be searching through the adult books myself. But I remember my mom was always really happy because they sorted their fiction by subgenre, so she could walk in and she could go to an actual Christian fiction section of the library and just browse the shelves for Christian fiction books, knowing that they were all going to be clean and Christian. When I go to the library, our library is just like fiction in general, so I don't really like to browse if I don't know the author or the genre, because I read mostly Christian fiction. I will read some clean fiction, but I'm really iffy about that, and I don't like to just go and browse the library because I might pick something off the shelf that is not clean or not something that I feel like I should be putting into my mind. So usually I'll use the library catalog, and if I'm not looking for like a specific book, then I'll just search Christian fiction in the library catalog, which is not always well organized. My county library really needs to work on their catalog, in my opinion, but I'll search the library catalog and be like, okay, this author is Christian fiction, this author, I can go look at their stuff in the library and know I'll be safe, you know? So if I'm not looking for a specific book, I usually know what authors I'm looking at. Number 5, do you use your library to check out just books, or do you also check out DVDs, audiobooks, etc.? I just check out books. I am not a big audiobook person. I'll do audiobooks on car trips, and that's about it. Just because auditory learning is like one of my lowest learnings. I get distracted really easily when I'm listening to stuff. So, yeah. And I don't really check out DVDs or anything like that from the library. I think I did check out a movie from Hoopla once, but I think it was just once. So yeah, I only check out books from the library. Number 6, from what section of your library do you check out a majority of your books? YA, middle grade, adult, nonfiction? Adult fiction. I'll do nonfiction sometimes too, but it's only a fraction of the time. Most of my books come from adult fiction. 7, what is your favorite part of using your local library? Getting books for free? I love supporting the community. I think that libraries are really, really important and integral part of our community, because not only are they available to get books for when you're like on a budget. Like for me, not having a job due to my chronic illness, I can't afford new books all the time. I would love to buy new books all the time and stock my home library, but I can't. I need that free resource because my health keeps me from having a job at this time in my life. So that's really important to me. But it's not just being able to have free books when you're like on a budget. It's also the fact that libraries promote literacy in communities, and I think that is so important. Like, I can't tell you how important I think that is. Like, we need to promote reading and literacy in our community. We need to promote it among our kids and our youth. We need to promote it in our schools. Like, generations need to be literate. They need to read. They need to expand their minds. They need to learn critical thinking. And I think that libraries are a big help for that, with all the programs that they do. Like, I mean, in February, my 3-year-old and 4-year-old nieces came to stay with us, and we took them to the story time at the library, and they got to be with other kids their age. They read them several picture books. They had them sing songs and do like active songs, with them moving, and they really liked it. That was a really good program. And you know, I think libraries are really important to communities, but if I had to pick a favorite part, it would be the fact that I have access to free books. Like, let's be real here. That's a great part. So yeah, that is the library book tag. If you have enjoyed this book tag and have a YouTube video of your own, or a YouTube channel of your own, please feel free to, I'll put the questions below. Please feel free to take a snapshot or copy them down and do your own video. I'd love to hear from you, your answers to these questions. If you agree or disagree with any of my answers here, please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you in the next video.